as part of our contingency, but we had about just under 3.6. So with owners and construction contingency. And so far, we've approved 360,000 out of 3.6 million. So we're doing really well. We have a number of things pending, so we have another 360,000 in pending items. But
Which may or may not, it could go either way.
yes,
as
it's a
we
very
talked about.
conservative approach to put a whole bunch of stuff on there. If they fall off, great. But better to have them on there than to be caught off guard. So we can go through kind of the list that I have before you. These are the ones where we've actually received PCOs and we'd like to move forward. Then we can kind of talk about maybe some of the other things that are on the list of some significance that we're not necessarily looking for approval tonight on, but just that are out there that have some sort of exposure. So the first one, that one that's shaded, I'm not really sure why that printed out, so you can ignore that one.
Somehow it's locked.
Yeah, I don't know. Excel magic. I couldn't get rid of it. But number 94, this one obviously is one of the bigger ones we've had on the project. This is at the acoustical roof screens to screen the mechanical equipment. There's some kind of beefy structure which holds up the panel, the decorative metal panel itself. But what we need to get, and what this cost is in there, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, is some of the smaller framing that's going to hold up the sound absorption panels on the inside.
Between the columns. You know, they're like
Yep.
30 feet
Yep.
up high.
Yeah, so if we got steel tubes holding up these screens, in between will just be some light gauge metal framing. But there's a lot of screen wall up there, so that's why this cost is
400 feet.
about what it is.
And I have some comments to it, so this would be Matt. I'm trying to get this one down a little bit because of what they're
Yeah,
showing. I think
like
it
we've done
is-
before, is we've received this, we don't want to wait a month or to the next meeting, so this would be a maximum cost, and we're going to work to get it lower.
I'm gonna ask the question that Kirk always asks, why was this not anticipated in the early stages?
So, I mean, we just didn't have it in the drawings, the support framing for that. It was a miss on our part.
An omission.
An omission? Okay.
Yeah,
It showed on the lower screen. We did have the screen.
Yep.
on-
Showed it on the lower, but not on the upper?
Yeah.
and we do
with
show some
details on it.
framing at the corners there, so that's part of why I'm gonna try to get this reduced, so it's just the majority of it. We just didn't have it shown on the drawing, so they obviously didn't include it in
So
there.
it probably should be,
Price.
probably be reimbursable though, right? Since it's
Yes.
Mhm.
right.
Actually, to Jen's detriment, when it's a design issue, the MSBA does reimburse on it. When it's say the fire department or some other third-party authority asking you to make a change, they don't participate.
Right.
So we have a 63, just as a reminder, it's a 63.11% reimbursement of eligible costs.
And is this eligible?
This would be eligible, yeah.
Okay. So,
Just as a little reference, the MSBA reviews change orders quarterly. So we submit a big spreadsheet to them identifying the issue, the cost. What was it? Was it a third party? Was it a design issue? Was it a added scope by the owner or something other than that? And then they'll go through and do their review of those change orders quarterly, and then they'll send out a report, probably goes to Carter or to yourself, identifying how much of that is reimbursable and how much isn't. There is a cap on what is eligible out of contingency. We're not there yet, because we've done really pretty well. But that is an ongoing review that happens on a regular, ongoing basis. So far, I think we have 7 change orders that we've submitted, and there's an 8th one.
Yep, that would, yep.
Yeah.
And then we're working on the 9th, but with some of these, we'll be in the 9th.
So, yeah, that is the largest on the list. The next one is revised power to the administrative offices. It's $1,123. Millwork to cover the wind bracing gusset plate. This is up in the art room. It's just that we put some casework in front of it, so there was $4,295. Full pavement in Wellington Road. So that was a request of the town to not just recompact the
Mhm.
base material
That we kept doing.
and top coat it, but to actually pull up all the asphalt, recompact everything, and then go over it with new asphalt.
And only within the limits that the
Okay.
contract was originally, not the entire Wellington Road. Which is basically the length of the site,
Mhm.
give or take, except it goes a little further
Further
on
right,
the north, south end towards the landscaper's yard,
Mhm.
which we trenched.
Right, yeah, we had,
holes down there.
there were some trenches there across the road.
So
it's
it
a little
goes
bit
just
farther.
beyond the last catch basin
Mhm.
to encompass everything we've touched.
So that one will not be reimbursable. Site-related items,
Right.
we're capped at 8%, and we are gonna hit that cap. And this also being an owner-requested change in scope, that's not gonna be reimbursable. Gym cafeteria threshold, $2,100. This is just a detail on the operable partition, where the operable partition meets the floor in between the cafeteria flooring, which is a ceramic tile, versus the wood flooring of the gym itself. The next one is phenolic panel. That's the wood panels on the outside of the building, the wood appearing panels.
Yeah.
So it's $7,400. It's 7 different areas. Doesn't add up to a lot of square footage. It's just in a lot of different areas, and so it's moving the equipment around. It's putting the framing that goes behind all that, and then filling it with the insulation, the mineral wool.
Yeah.
So that's the cost for that. $433. This is a change to a sink, the SK2 sink, and I don't actually remember the exact detail on that one.
Undermount versus?
Yeah, we
top
had called for an undermount sink, which we've got plastic laminate, so you'd see the edge of the wood, so we're just
Yeah.
swapped those out.
Sill details at the windows to the corridors. It's some almost $2,500, $2,465. And is that,
There's 7 locations, it's something we've questioned the labor amount on, but we haven't gotten an answer yet, but, just a little wood sill, looking out into the corridor.
Mhm.
it's a finish, so it's a little,
Yeah,
it'd
right
be
down the
nice,
road
but,
anyway.
yeah, we are questioning the amount of labor hours that they put to it.
So if we go down 500, 800, something, if it goes down.
All right.
Clips for the porcelain panels, these are by the gymnasium.
Yep.
$9,081. Again, I don't know the issue with the clips.
They're, where the steel angle is at the top.
Oh, that's right.
It's not flush with where the sheathing is, so they have the porcelain panels have clips, and their clips aren't long enough to extend out so that the porcelain panels are aligned, so that would mean there would be a step in the porcelain, which don't really
I think of
want
that
to do.
I-beam has that
And they
steps back.
ordered from Germany.
Yeah,
or
so there's
someplace.
just a timing issue too. They wouldn't be able to get the longer clips in time, so there was a solution to fabricate sort of an infill piece that would infill, and it's so much because it's the whole perimeter of where that porcelain tile is, so
Yeah.
that's
It's a bunch,
the
yeah.
solution for that.
The next one is just under $1,500, and this is for asphalt paving, a trench. This was some pipe that was replaced when we were doing some excavation. It was determined that this existing corrugated steel pipe was rusted out, so we replaced that through another change order, but they never billed us for the replacing of the asphalt. And they did put in a temporary patch of asphalt that we will need to pay them for. third floor soffit changes at door S4B, but anyway, this is at the top of that monumental stair in the center. It just has to do with the soffit and how that meets that glazed wall that comes around that stair tower at the third floor level. Just some framing and sheetrock in there, so $2,200. And then just some added duct smoke detectors, so in $1,500, so based on the equipment that was submitted and the technical aspects, whether there's, how many CFM it's pushing is whether you need internal smoke detectors in the ductwork. So we needed to add those. And so that's all we are looking to get approval on. It's a longer list than we've ever had before, but we are at a point in the job where there are gonna be a lot of miscellaneous things. There always are at the end, that things kinda have risen to the surface. But again, we're under budget, we're doing very well financially, and we've had a very small number of changes to date on the project.
I have a question about the smoke detector in the ductwork. Back a long time ago, we used to have the same thing, and it was a pain because that smoke detector would go up because of dust. And for whatever reason, however it was built, I don't still understand to this day, they couldn't get to it, like to clean it, to do a simple, they felt that they just air blow it or something. They could never get to the air, to that detector. I'm going to assume that when it's built right, like we are here, that there's, for lack of a better word, access door or something to that point. It was a real, because that would go off multiple times a day, and you couldn't just take it offline for whatever reason. I just would always wondered about that. How are the accessible of those? Because when they go bad and you're up in that ductwork, it can be a pain.
Yeah,
I
I'll
think
have
there
to-
is an access door,
Yeah.
because these are being put in after the fact.
Oh, okay, so, all right.
Jessica needs it.
One of the parts of the changes just is who's doing the work of their own, in the electrical, does the fire alarm versus the mechanical, so some of that is involved in this, so, but, when the electricians have to go and tie into it, they have to be able to access it.
Okay. I know it's a practical kind of question, but I'll tell you, if you're the building principal, say, and you got the one sensor going off every, like, say, 28 minutes or whatever, it becomes a real issue.
Yeah.
Like at home, when the thing starts beeping and you start walking around,
That-
is it this one,
Waving
is it
the,
that
That
one?
waving things, yeah, right, okay.
I'll follow up.
Yeah, just,
and I'll-
again, it's just one of
respond,
those PTSD things that I have from back
I
in the
mean,
day.
one of the issues with access doors and ductwork, you wanna put in as little as possible, because every access door is a potential leak in
Sure.
your system. So, but there's nothing to prevent you from being able to cut them in after the fact if it's determined that, what, we really need this. I mean, I'm not saying that we're not gonna have them. But, when they do a duct cleaning service and something like that, they cut in holes everywhere, and then your pressure loss of your ductwork
Right.
is tremendous, unless it's done really correctly, so you have them, but really only where you're needed.
I almost wanna say that it's a probe of sorts that just kinda,
Sticks through, it's
Sticks in,
screwed in
you
from the
know.
outside,
Yeah.
wiring
It's
on the
not an
outside.
actual-
the equipment is outside and it just
Yeah.
reads
Mhm.
smoke.
Oh, I'm sure it is far more advanced than the one I'm talking about, without a doubt. When I read that, I go, oh, God. I said this sweat.
Lessons learned.
Yeah.
So any other questions about any of these items?
No.
So these are all the highest numbers? Or some of these are?
Yeah, we may be able to get
that
some of
you
these
stated,
lower,
You're trying to get,
Yeah.
but that's probably only a couple of them, for the most part, those other numbers, because most of them are relatively minor.
Yeah.
Or they're actually worth what they're billing for, not inflated in any way.
and the clips, if something goes wrong with them, we would be able to order like new ones, because you're saying this is a fix because they don't meet up?
No, it's a permanent solution. It's just, rather than using a longer bracket, they're installing something that fills that gap. So it's a permanent solution
Okay.
to it,
Kinda
yeah.
like putting a piece of blocking behind the
Right.
bracket, so it pushes the bracket out to the plane that it wants to be in. It's in
Right.
simple words.
Okay, it's a permanent solution.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
It's
not
not
a
a-
break or.
No,
you know,
we
things you
wouldn't
have to
propose anything
replace.
that wouldn't be,
Okay,
comparable in quality or, yeah, performance, so.
All right, I'm all set with it.
that's my only question. So I make a motion to approve the change orders on the list presented.
Second?
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, so just to go through some of the other ones that we have on our list, just to give you an idea, we are up to 135 items, which is really pretty good. Some jobs where we have like 700, so we're doing really pretty well. But some of the items that are out here that potentially could have a cost impact of significance is well, we talked about a maintenance or some sort of structure.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I just put in $100,000 here as a placeholder. I think
You might have to
really review
repeat
your-
yourself if it was at the last meeting that I couldn't make. You're making a structure?
There's been a
We
request
reviewed it, yeah.
to store exterior equipment,
Okay,
and there is no place within the building for that.
okay,
So, one of the thoughts was to actually build
a structure to do
A
so?
garage.
Shed
I don't know
for-
what to call it,
a
shed.
garage
Yeah.
shed.
Equipment shed.
A
Decent
big-
sized shed.
Yeah. So we have, for example, you have snow blower, we have, there's a
Tractor.
tractor, there's stuff, to, to remove snow, cut grass, et cetera. The way the school is built, that the loading dock cannot be, there's no place in the building really to keep the stuff anyway, but there's no place to keep these, pieces of machinery, out of the weather, so to speak. So, it makes sense if you're gonna spend money on things that are, for example, the tractor and all these other things, if you wanna keep them undercover. We looked at a couple different areas. I remember where the old, and I never actually saw it because it's down now, but there was a shed behind the police station that we were trying to figure out, and that fell down, I guess, or whatever. But we couldn't put anything there because right below the surface is the gas or propane tanks, et cetera, given all the projects. So the one place that it can, and it aesthetically will look nice and make sense is, well, actually, there's a picture of actually in the briefing. It's right next to that wall.
As soon as you drive in the gate where the trailer's at, Diane, immediately to the right, where the transformer is,
Yeah,
probably.
right, in that area. The picture isn't big enough, but, right, that's,
Yep.
Right as you drive in the gate,
It would actually
Yeah.
be out in.
right
here.
off the loading dock.
Yeah, it'd be right in this area.
Mhm. Okay,
the loading dock is, I forget how many feet off the ground. There's no way we're gonna be able to,
Yeah,
4 feet, 5 feet. So there's no way they would build a ramp or something to
well,
get
there is
this
a
thing.
ramp up to
But
the,
up to the, but
Up
not
to
for the
the-
tractor, et cetera, there's no
Right.
way that would fit up there.
depending on
And
the
then once
size
you
of
got
it,
it
yeah.
up there, what are you gonna do with it?
Right, right, now it's taking up the whole ramp, so I mean, or the whole loading area, whatever the case is, but, so we talked about that the last couple meetings, I think it was the last two, I think, I guess, my memory is not good, but, we feel there's a need for it, obviously, and we are looking to get it, obviously, drawings of, et cetera, so.
Right, so, I have Peter Glick, who's our civil engineer, is helping me out. We're gonna put together sort of a scope of work of what we think, that would look like in that area. There'd be some, we'd have to go before the zoning board if it's in that area, because we'd be within the setbacks. So, he's gonna put together what a preliminary sort of schedule in terms of how that works, obviously it's gonna fall outside now probably of this, you know, this project, you know, because our substantial completion is in end of May, so with that and the permitting of it will probably fall after that, so, but at least we can put together a scope and have Fontaine just put a budget number, because we've got, you know, that 100,000 placeholder, but we'll see, if we can get a better number for that, and then you can decide if you wanna pursue that, and we can put a permit package together and, design it, so,
I can hear it now.
oh,
No, I'm serious. But anyway, it's an idea, it's a good idea. I'm not saying I disagree with it.
But anyway, so that's one of the, that's by far the largest. We have $10,000 placeholder for potentially an issue with the motorized shade power. The contract, we feel the contractor owns it and they're responsible for it. I think they agree, but I've kept it here anyway, just in case. We had $15,000 for a potential additional cost for some relieving angles, basically holding up at the masonry, at the window openings on the.
It's probably gonna go away, I mean, if they haven't said anything by now.
Yeah, some of these, I mean, that goes back to November, so
jeez.
I don't necessarily take these off the
Oh,
list too
no,
quickly.
no, until they actually,
yeah, Fontaine, I think he said they took care of it.
Okay, that would be
But-
great.
We can keep it on.
Revised roof hatch,
That was an R5, we looked at it, it's just, I mean, the head height meets code, so we said,
yeah, when a question comes in and we think it might have a cost impact, we kind of put it on the law. And if it turns out to not have any impact, it just kind of goes away.
And this one still, I keep pushing back on this a little bit, because I have a feeling that it's going to be, we're gonna find out that it's gonna be an issue. But, you know, once it's in, the ladder's in, we'll know. We'll
Right.
walk up there as a maintenance person, you know, carrying some tools. If it's a comfortable, safe trip up, fine. If it's all of a sudden you're banging into stuff and then we may have to think about making a larger hatch.
A relatively recent one, which is this month, is the, at the playground, there was a question about the amount of asphalt paving that's underneath the rubber play surface. I mean, we own that to begin with.
Yeah. I don't
So-
think Gagliardi, to say contractors contesting that.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. We
That
can
was how we
probably,
detailed it.
we can probably get rid of that one. And then glazing at stair one at the third floor. There was just a question about, there was a question that came in, we're not sure if it's gonna have a cost. The rest of them are, you know, 1,000 here, you know, 5,000 for potentially some revisions to the ceilings at the first floor corridors. ADA operator hardware changes per an RFI. We have a pretty specific number, $2,015. I don't know if we've received something on that or just where that number come
was
from.
Yeah,
You're
that
right,
was
it is,
Usually I don't get
That
that
was a-
specific with my
Mhm.
guesstimates.
round numbers.
Yeah,
or
but.
it was an email that he sent, I think it, yeah, we have reviewed that.
But really, it's a relatively small list. And I can go into a little bit of the meat of the finances for the project, and we can just repeat it at the next meeting, but, again, our budget was $45 million. Invoice to date has been $27 million, so you've paid out $27 million. You've encumbered or have contracts for about 39, just over 39 million of that 45. And so of the 27 that you've paid out, we estimate that just under 23 is eligible for reimbursement. And that would be eligible for reimbursement at 63.11%. So that comes to about $14.5 million. So of the 27 that you've spent, about 14.5 million should have been reimbursed.
Sorry.
It's good. I mean,
Yeah, that's really good.
one of the questions that I was asked, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, in the life of this project, Hank, you could probably help me, or someone who's been here longer than I. At some point, did the reimbursement rate change because the project took longer
Yes.
than it should have? In
The
terms of MSBA?
reimbursement, once you sign your project funding agreement, that's really when it locks in.
Right. So it probably did, just because we didn't sign the PFA until, given the fact that this project was discussed, and I truly don't know when the beginning was, but,
Well, we signed the PFA, then we go through
well, we did two
design development,
PFAs. I signed the
construction
second. yeah,
documents.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then we were ready to go out to bid and we didn't. We waited a
Right.
year.
I don't think it changed.
So it didn't
from that
change
one
from
year.
But it didn't change in the 1 year.
Oh, it didn't? Okay.
We were gonna get a little bit less, but then we did leads, and we were eligible for a little bit
Oh,
more.
okay.
Yeah, and then so
Thank you.
in the final audit, we'll have to submit to to prove that we've actually achieved lead certification.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
In order to get that.
Yeah.
But we're anticipating that we'll get that.
Yeah, I don't mean to bring up, it was asked of me, and I said,
But a long time
I
ago,
do
we
not
would have
know.
gotten 80%.
Oh, yeah, that was, yeah, the
Yeah,
old
I mean-
So
MSBA.
time
The old
costed
MSBA,
us
right.
money.
The other item that changes
That was a regional too,
periodically,
so.
Okay.
Say that again, Hank?
It was regional reimbursement at that time too,
Right.
so.
one of the issues is how much the MSBA will reimburse per square foot.
Right.
And currently, they reimburse $333 per square foot. Most of the projects going out to bid now are about $450 to $500 per square foot. I don't know, I don't remember what the level was when you guys signed your project funding agreement, but that's when that gets locked in as well. You're probably at about, I think it was like 220 or 219 or something like that.
Mhm.
Per square foot. Is that you- or-
Yeah,
Yeah.
that they would reimburse on. So even though you're getting 63% of what's eligible, and they're only 300 and now $333 per square foot is eligible, not the $450 that comes in at bid day.
Right.
So that's why your reimbursement rate is 63, but you're only getting 14.5 of the 22 that was eligible, or the 14.5 of the 27 that you spent. It'll be around 50.
Yeah.
Around 50% when you're all said and done.
Okay.
So financially, I guess the other things to talk about are we got approval at the last building committee meeting to issue purchase orders for furniture. So we've done that, at least the first round. There'll be multiple rounds of that, but got a lot of those out there, just 14 purchase orders. Technology is being finalized.
Mm.
That'll be another round of furniture or FF&E procurement. And then equipment and some things that we got bids on, but we didn't feel that those were the ideal items. So we're gonna look to get some other items off a state contract. Some of the rugs for the classrooms. That's, believe it or not, it's about $12,000 worth of rugs. And there's some other miscellaneous FF&E items, but big picture, we're doing quite well.
Good.
It would be good to get a list of items that, anything else that we have.
Yeah.
How did you make out with the photos?
It worked.
It works now?
So now they're up on the, it was an issue of, who cares? They figured it out. Once I got them, now I get little notices that so-and-so, I've got 12 new whatevers or whatever. So now they're up. They're all up. They, for whatever reason, they were going and they just, I don't know, stopped for whatever reason. This is back. So we're thinking everything is going up, it wasn't. So that weekend, on that Friday, I called you, whatever, we got everything up. It took a while because there was a lot of pictures. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
We had no idea that many pictures had not come through the process, but now they're all set, so Chelsea posted them all. Thank you.
Is that on your website? you mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Have you been getting any feedback on,
We check it, well, we would be alerted. So in other words, if there was a comment or whatever, we get it automatically. We haven't received a comment since, honestly, probably the first week or so, or whatever it was. Yeah. We checked that too, because we're thinking, uh-oh, what happened, what broke down, you know, the 30 comments. you
Yeah.
know, Why aren't you responding to me? You know, oh, yeah, we forgot. But, no, it's been good. I'm gonna double check it right now, just because. Do I get worried about stuff? Nope, everything's good.
I'm very happy to drive by the project on almost a daily basis
Yeah.
and see all the progress.
oh yeah, it looks great.
Oh, my gosh.
Looks
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I have a lot of positive feedback. Some negative, but mostly positive.
Hopefully that's why you don't get too many comments on there, when that people are finally seeing come to fruition.
Probably, that's what the thing is.
But you can definitely see it over the fence line now. You know, like the phenolic paneling and the brickwork and you can see, you know, so it's nice to see.
Yep.
I haven't been through the tour of the inside because I haven't had a lot of time. Been spending time with my granddaughter, but I would love to come through.
You
And I know I can make that appointment with you, and you always accommodate me, so thank you.
Yeah, they are. I love the description, so, you know, as someone who couldn't build a birdhouse, and I see like, you know, so-and-so modified, you know, flow preventer, blah, 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 you know, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what that is, oh, okay, I just keep, they joke with me all the time, hey, a picture came up of the, and they'll name whatever you've named, you know, whatever the name of it is, like, oh, yeah, I know those well, absolutely, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, we have hundreds of pictures, they all, it took almost an hour and a half.
Oh,
To
wow.
down, oh, sure, because we thought these pictures were coming,
For months.
we thought that these pictures were slowly trickling into the
Right.
website, when they weren't. The short
Oh.
story of it was, and so we were like, where, and so then we finally whatever, but we got it,
Good.
we got it, hundreds of pictures.
Yes.
Yeah, now I try to get them more of the interior.
Yeah,
so
that's,
people
oh,
can see
let me
the-
tell you something, those are the biggies, that's what they go on the website for now, so the teachers are like,
Yeah, now you're gonna see
Mm.
the.
I can see the coat
No,
room,
they
or I can see the,
won't
yeah.
get in there and.
Yeah, that, oh, yeah. I have a feeling eventually you're gonna have a break-in, there's gonna be 4 teachers trying to figure out where they're gonna put their stuff, so, but it was, yeah. The inside, any of those pictures, when you send them to, of course, usually Hank beats me to the punch, but, we send them out, you know, to the teachers as well, like through the email, just to, that's right, it was the typical toilet wall tile is one I sent out the other day.
Very colorful.
You're very colorful.
Very colorful.
Yeah.
You see the floor.
Do we have,
Oh.
do
Corridor
we have anything
floors.
else to add?
Yeah, we're all set on
Yep.
finance.
Should we make a
Sorry.
motion to adjourn this meeting?
Sure can.
So I make a motion to adjourn the finance committee meeting.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. We're adjourned.